Hey everyone, it's Sunday today, so that means it is time to chat all things ChatGPT and generative AI. Let's sit down and chat about what's been going on this week in the news. So we've got a few news stories this week. The first is, well, lawsuits. We know that artificial intelligence is transforming the world, but it's not without its controversy. OpenAI, the organization behind ChatGPT, is now facing criticism for allegedly using articles from major news outlets to train its AI tool without compensating them. So according to Bloomberg, the News Corp's Dow Jones unit, which owns the Wall Street Journal, they've stated that anyone who wants to use the work of its journalists to train AI should be properly licensing the rights to do so from Dow Jones. The company added that it is reviewing the situation and takes the misuse of journalists' work very seriously. But OpenAI is not the only company facing legal action over its use of AI. Back in November 2020, GitHub, a division of Microsoft, and OpenAI were sued for GitHub Co-Pilot, the automated sort of au pair of coding. They were accused of plagiarizing human developers in violation of their licenses. Now keep in mind that some of the code that is published on GitHub is copyright. So with this automated sort of au pair coding program, it was using license and copyright code. So people are demanding some compensation for this. Similarly, a group of artists sued AI generators, Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt. They were sued in January of this year, claiming that the companies downloaded and used billions of copyrighted images without compensating or obtaining the consent of artists. Getty Images has also filed a suit against Stability AI, claiming that it wasn't properly compensated for its watermarked work to be used by AI scraping companies. Now, we all know that this is a bit of an issue, and I think especially for consultants. Again, when we are copying and pasting work, we could actually be putting some of our clients and our company at risk. So please, please, please remember, don't copy and paste blindly when it comes to the output from ChatGPT or some of these generative AI applications. Now, I find this next news item quite spectacular, and the theme of Rihanna performing at the Super Bowl, blank better have my money. Sometimes in the corporate world, as we know, clients can go rogue and don't pay for the services that they've received. When this happens, many people turn to lawyers, but one CEO took a different approach. So this is Greg Isenberg, and he is a CEO which turned to ChatGPT because a client ghosted on making payments that were due to his company. And this is to the tune of around approximately $110,000. So instead of sending another email or hiring an expensive law firm to initiate debt collection, he had an idea to use ChatGPT to draft a scary collection email to get his client's attention. So using a simple prompt, ChatGPT turned out a convincing email. And I'll show you it right now. If you're just listening, the prompt says, pretend you worked in the finance department and your job is to collect payments from clients. Draft a scary email that gets XYZ client to pay for $109,500 of services rendered but hasn't responded to 5 emails. Their invoices are 5 months overdue. Now it's interesting because the cost of ChatGPT was $0, whereas he mentioned that the cost of hiring a lawyer to send a notice would have been around $1,000. So very interesting. Who knows? It could be the solution that you might need if you need somebody to draft a scary email. But again, I will strongly recommend this, not doing this. Like, a senior manager is not answering you. Perhaps you're going on, you need to travel for work, and the travel agents aren't getting back to you, etc. Perhaps refrain from using this for now, leave it in the hands. If you're more senior, then you can, of course, trust and tweak. But as a junior consultant, I would actually maybe not recommend this route for now. In other news, the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona happened, and it attracted over around 2,000 exhibitors eager to talk about their achievements and ambitions in AI-powered tech. Now, one of the highlights was Qualcomm's demonstration of its edge computing chips that can turn simple verbal description into fully realized pictures in just 15 seconds. Now, this is an example of generative AI similar to the powers of ChatGPT, and the computing processes were carried out entirely on the device, rather than relying on cloud computing. And this is pretty exciting because not only is this potentially a better cost saving for cloud computing, especially if it's not in green areas or use areas that use green energy to host the data servers, to host the cloud computing. But also too, this signals a really powerful next step in what mobile devices could do. This means the power of using ChatGPT can be done on devices, that devices will have computational power that will be able to run these queries by themselves per device. So this is really neat when it comes to a privacy standpoint. We'll see devices that can be used more in closed parameters. And there's so much more in this space. So it's really a game changer. And I'm very curious as to what Qualcomm has in store. I'm curious, though, about Microsoft showcasing its cloud-based AI management system for telecom operators for streamlining network management and improving customer service. So this could be interesting plays, and also two interesting plays in the consulting space for potential projects or potential sales down the line. Now, when we talk about business, consulting, AI, ChatGPT, we cannot forget about the big powerhouse that is China. So when we're talking about business, consulting, AI, ChatGPT, we really can't forget about one of the big powerhouses and global markets, and that is China. This week, there were some reports about China in this space. So Chinese entrepreneurs and companies are looking to launch in this space, but are potentially facing backlash from the Chinese government. Now, while the ChatGPT chatbot isn't officially available to users in China, companies in the country have rushed to sort of cash in on this. So we're seeing some proxy services that charge domestic users a subscription fee for access to ChatGPT, and others are kind of using workarounds to incorporate it into the business workflow. Larger tech companies in China are also jumping on the bandwagon and announcing their rival version. Leading the way is Baidu. Many of us have heard about this as the largest search engine in China, and it is suggesting that it would launch its own chatbot named Ernie. And now it would release it this month and integrate it across all of its operation, including its cloud services and smart car operating system. Now, despite the market fever and a bit of a gold rush, now I'm from Canada, so I feel like this reminds me of learning about the Yukon gold rush in middle school, but I digress. Despite this really hunger and need, there's a reason why the Chinese government is a bit more cautious than keen about the rise of generative AI chatbots. Now, in some ways, this type of app is trained on vast amounts of volume of data, and it would perhaps represent a serious challenge to Beijing's censorship status. China has already begun tightening access to ChatGPT. As mentioned earlier, it clamped down on public accounts on WeChat that embed a version of the tool via an API, although there still are a handful of available paid services when Vice World News did some of its reporting on Thursday. So in the context of ChatGPT, China is still a very uncertain space. And in my life this week, I've joined a team that has some awesome, wonderful resources from India. So I am catching up on Indian pop culture. So this weekend's been full of Bollywood movies. I will try and pronounce their names, but I will not succeed. So I watched Bajaro Mastani, Three Idiots was really nice, and Padmavat. Whew. I am gonna get roasted from my colleagues for my pronunciation, but you know what? You gotta try. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.